how do you write comedy into your movies? So that way the jokes actually land and people consider your movie to be funny and they're laughing with you, not at you. For the most part, writing jokes and writing comedy takes experience, just doing it over and over again. Even the most experienced stand-up comics go to dive bars and test out new material, slowly honing their craft, but with some understanding of how comedy works and why comedy works can help you get on the fast track to writing absolutely stellar jokes, making people roll over laughter, or laughing until they cry, or laughing until they shit themselves. Hi, Ridge here, and at Simplified Filming, we are helping you make low-budget movies that generate passive income for the rest of your life. And right now, I am offering a free pre-production strategy call that's usually worth about $500. I'm offering that for free and only for a limited time, so make sure you click the link down below, book that free strategy call where we will help you get the ball rolling on your project. So if you're interested in making movie and making movies funny, hit the like button because it needs a little tickle down there. So, understanding the parties of humor. Now, just bear with me. There are 4 different parties of humor, or situations in which makes a joke a joke. But even with these 4 parties of humor, without the right sort of delivery or without the right understanding of humor, you're still going to potentially mess up. So make sure you stay to the end of the video so I give you those couple of tips after you understand the 4 parties of humor. Party number 1 is first party humor. What is first party humor? First party humor is essentially the party that it takes to set up the joke and to make the joke and to laugh at the joke. And that is the people that are actually in the movie. Now, when they tell a joke and it's funny in the movie and everybody laughs and they're not laughing at somebody, but they're laughing at the situation, that is first party humor. Classic example would be Fast and Furious, where he makes that classic joke about his forehead.
Hey, Mia, you better hide your baby or... I'm just playing.
You better hide that big-ass forehead.
I was just joking.
Everybody thought that that was funny. The joke was the whole party, including us as the viewing audience, think it's funny. That is first party humor. Second party humor is slightly complicated because there's grounded second party humor and then there's slapstick second party humor. But let's break down both of them one at a time. So grounded second party humor is where there is something elaborate as the first party, being the actors, that do something ridiculous or out of the ordinary or that should not be done, and we see how funny it is being the second party, and we observe that and we laugh at it. A classic example of grounded second party humor would be like Dwight Schrute doing or stating something totally ridiculous.
Security in this office park is a joke. Last year I came to work with my spud gun in a duffel bag. I sat at my desk all day with a rifle that shoots potatoes at 60 pounds per square inch. Can you imagine if I was deranged?
And we as the audience observe that and think that that's funny because that's out of the ordinary, but Dwight, being the first party, thinks that it's perfectly normal for him to say some of these classic ridiculous things. Another one would be Parks and Recs. Parks and Recs. Parks and Rec. I keep putting an S at the end of it. Ron Swanson does these elaborate things all the time, and in his reality, these things are normal, but to us as a removed, the second party, we see that as not normal, and that's what creates the humor.
And I went to this website, and this ad popped up that said, "Hey, Ron Swanson, check out this great offer."
What's your question?
My question is, what the hell?
Well, the ungrounded or slapstick second party humor would be something just a little more sloppy and slapsticky, like Three Stooges.
Hot water always melts glue. Oh, wait a minute. What's the matter with you? Ungrateful. Hey,
What do you think I am, a lobster trying to boil me alive?
well, hot water always... Oh!
That's pretty simple. We see it's ridiculous. They think it's their reality. That creates two-party humor. Now, moving on to third-party humor. Third-party humor is essentially the same as second-party humor, except there's a third party that almost acts like an audience proxy, acknowledging and realizing how ridiculous it is. This allows for a kind of another layer to the joke. So not only do we see Dwight do something absolutely crazy, we get to see Jim's reaction to it, and he relates to us in that way. So third party essentially is just having an audience proxy that is acknowledging how ridiculous ridiculous or outlandish something is in there. The best example, again, is Jim from The Office when he makes some sort of sarcastic remark toward Dwight for the ridiculous things that he does. Third-party humor can be excellent as far as your movies go. You've got an elaborate character who fits into the perfect 5-character arc structure, and this one character, a little more grounded, is acknowledging and drawing attention to the ridiculous jokes. And fourth party humor is simple. It's someone who breaks the fourth wall. Fourth party humor is where a character in the first party, being the actors, actually breaks the fourth wall and talks directly to the audience and makes a joke with them. Again, another perfect example would be Jim from The Office, when he doesn't just make a sarcastic remark, but he looks to the camera to connect with the audience. Deadpool is another perfect example.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
The secret to comedy is more than just knowing the parties of humor, but knowing the parties of humor helps you keep consistent humor. There's nothing worse than trying to make like a serious, grounded drama comedy, and then you pull some slapstick stuff right in the middle of it, and it clashes and doesn't make sense, kind of like the movie Daddy's Home.
Oh, it's one down, 4 up. One down, one down, one down.
But a couple tips when it comes to humor. First, I want to encourage you to watch Vsauce's video on why we laughed. This will teach you the psychology of what makes us laugh.
It's to our evolutionary advantage. And so when something begins in a way that we expect, and then all of a sudden changes and surprises or delights us, we often react with laughter because we have just learned something.
So that's why it's incredibly important that the setup of the joke is incredibly strong and the delivery of the joke is incredibly strong. So tip number 1 would be to set up your joke strong. And tip number 2 would be pause. In the words of Steve Carell, pause for effect. Pausing for effect is an excellent way to draw your audience attention to the joke before you deliver the punchline. And speaking of punchline, punch the like button for me. But the punchline is important. Now I'm losing my train of thought, which we'll get back on track. One exercise that you want to do as a movie maker is when you watch a comedy and you laugh, really analyze the joke. Why did it make you laugh? So just a quick recap, learn the parties of humor. First party humor is where all parties are involved and we all think that it's funny, including the actors and the audience. Second party humor is where one person thinks that whatever's funny is happening is true and reality and we get to laugh at them. Third party humor is the same thing, except there's a party in the first party that thinks it's ridiculous too. And fourth party humor is when a character in the first party, being the actors, reaches out and makes a joke with you. But most of all, learn to set up your jokes well, hit the subscribe button, pause for effect, and in the meantime, always be creative. I feel like YouTubers that try to be funny, Ryan, are just like, they look at other YouTubers that try to, so it's just a bunch of regurgitated jokes. No, I'm not making fun of them, I'm just pointing out something that I see a lot. Like, how often do they do this? Hey everybody, and then they cut to the intro. Like, we see that all the time. That's just regurgitated nonsense. Let's not do that anymore anyway. It was just that one time.